Welcome back to Founders Journal Unfiltered, where I share things I'm grateful for, challenges, and lessons. And this week, I'm very, very grateful because I have just started to get feedback in from my final product trial. And my feedback currently has a rating of 9.5 out of 10 stars, which means we might actually get to launch on time, which should be May 2026. So that is super, super exciting for me. It's bringing us closer to the launch day and to actually getting the full products in people's hands. So I'm super grateful for that. I'm really happy with just the level of detail I have had from people in the trial feedback. It's been super helpful in terms of shaping the direction of the product. My challenge is also connected to the product trials, and my challenge comes down to 0.5% of a formulation, which is insane. It's such a small amount, and actually I have it here. When you look at these two bottles, the bottles look the same. The bottles look the same, but the bottles are not the same. One of them has clary sage and one of them has sage. And this makes a massive difference in terms of price, which I think is how the mistake happened. I think someone in the lab was trying to improve on pricing, so they swapped clary sage for sage because sage is cheaper. Sage, however, has a smell that I personally hate. And based on my customer feedback, I think quite a few other people don't like it either. But what was really frustrating for me is when I was fixing the scent, I did not trust my own notes. And I have a good nose. I've got a strong sense of smell. I have been able to come up with scents that have sold millions of hair care products with my first brand. And it's something I know I'm good at. But when a few people said they didn't like the smell and they described it, I thought, oh, that's very different to me. Maybe it's individual differences. What I didn't realize is a mistake had been made somewhere along the line. And let's go into the lesson, because the lesson for me is that you need to trust your strengths. You need to trust your own skill sets that you know you're good at. So I should have identified faster that people were describing something that was very different to the thing that I had. And when I eventually did think, do you know what? I think I kind of know scent. And I did ask someone on the trial if I could just smell their products, and I realized it was different. And then I looked through the ingredients and got the factory in the lab to send everything through. That's when I found the issue. But this took me months to do. And it took me months for a couple of reasons. So let's go into the lessons connected to that. It took me months because I have not had the best boundaries around my time. I currently am a solo founder. I don't have a team. I have my partner factory, which is fantastic. I work with them. I have regular check-ins with them, but I haven't scheduled in regular check-ins with myself to make sure things are moving along. So progress is happening, but I've let the fact that the launch is delayed allow me to kind of slip into some bad habits of letting my time fill up with other things. And some of those other things are good. Some of those other things are consulting work or other doing more public speaking, creating more content, putting stuff up on YouTube. That is all great. But it's so easy to lose sight of actually the launch. The launch is what's important. I need to make sure that I am on track for making sure we launch by May 2026, unless something outside of my control slows that down. But at the moment, I've kind of allowed myself to meander a bit. And this week I'm getting back on track. So I have had a very productive day today. I have gotten in touch with lots of partners that I want to work with, because especially as a solo founder, you don't do things alone, and you can't. As the proverb says, you want to go far, go together. If you want to go fast, go alone. You can go fast, but you don't go to the right place. And actually, sometimes you slow yourself down trying to do everything by yourself because you don't have accountability. So my lessons this week have been around consistency, making sure that every single week I am having an Eye of Botanicals check-in with myself, and I'm not letting tasks kind of slip by a couple of days or a couple of weeks. What's really frustrating to me is this kind of 0.5% of the formulation. What's really frustrating to me is this 0.5% of the formulation that was sage instead of clary sage is something I spotted the day after the samples were made up. So I could have saved a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of frustration had I done that task, the review of the ingredients, literally just the day before, and it had been on my to-do list for a week and a half before I got round to it. So that procrastination cost me massively. So consistency with yourself, having those check-ins as if you have a team. And that means that once you do have a team, it can just slot in. You can start to meet with people. It makes life easier. The other thing is just to be on my own back, to hold myself accountable, to be my own boss, and also to believe in myself, believe in my own source, and know that the skills that I have are the skills that I have, and I should trust them. So had I trusted myself more, I would have done my investigation into the ingredients earlier, and I would have caught this earlier. Luckily, we are far from the launch, so it's absolutely fine. It won't affect the final product. And it has been a good way for me to confirm that it is worth having a product that is perhaps a bit more expensive in terms of raw materials, but it's really good quality, because actually even a small change of 0.5% of the formulation does make a big difference. And the final lesson is boundaries. When you're self-employed, it's really hard to balance, I suppose, the flexibility you have against the work that you need to do. So if I do not work, if I do not build this, it's not going to happen. It is all down to me. At the same time, I have a lot of flex in my schedule with my time. So I'm actually revisiting a book called Boundaries, which is really, really helpful. It just so happened to come up in a book club that I'm part of for some NHS volunteering I do. So the book is Boundaries, and in rereading Boundaries, as a married woman with children, I'm noticing things that I didn't notice the first time I read it about how many years ago? About 14 years ago, when I was single and I didn't have kids. I'm noticing how easy it is for your time to be taken up by just other people's needs. And I think it's really important to give to people, to serve others, to be loving, essentially. It's also important to make sure that you have your stuff sorted out so that you are filling your cup and giving from a full cup. Recently, I've been doing a lot of giving more than I have capacity to give. So I'm revisiting my boundaries, making sure that I protect pockets of time to get important things done with biobotanicals. And then that way I can give cheerfully everywhere else. So those are my reflections. I've been thinking a lot about consistency, about boundaries, and being on your own back, but also believing in your own source. I hope that is helpful. Let me know how it's going with your businesses, and I'll see you next time for another Founders Journal Unfiltered.